Yes, yes. Yeah, I can hear both.
Okay, okay.
Okay, right. So if you have any questions, please go ahead. Tanvir. Any questions from you? Anything you'd like to know? Please uh, go ahead. Tanvir. Vinod, Manjuna.
Hello. Hello.
Yeah. Tell me, please. Tell me, Manjuna. Vinod.
Oh, Vinod. Oh, suddenly he left again. Okay. Maybe some system issue or something.
Okay.
Okay, one thing, Raj, I mean, generally
Hmm.
people says they have test environment, dev environment, QA environment, prod
Hmm.
environment,
Hmm.
UAT environment and all.
Hmm.
Generally, what is the sequence of the environments in different projects? I face different
So,
environments. Generally, sequence.
environment starts with analysis. Environment is what generally analysis will be done first, right? The next planning and design will be taken next. After
Yeah, yeah.
planning and design, implementation will be taken, followed by implementation, testing, followed by testing, deployment, followed by deployment, delivery. This is the process. Earlier,
Yeah.
development as separate means development testing as separate. Deployment
Okay.
team will be separate. Earlier, in the beginning
Okay.
days, even now, I can say most of the projects still running development team as well as deployment teams as two separate. That's how the situation
Correct. Yeah,
was.
yeah.
But the problem is forget about agile for some time, right? So assume that we have not transformed into agile. If you
Yeah.
follow
Okay.
traditional practices, the major problem comes to is, let's say that there is a phase of analysis done where you are working on the what we call the wherein you are working on the planning and design. Let me show you one minute. For example, this is what generally the SDLC process is, right? So let's say that there is a phase of analysis done. Now people are in the stage of planning and design or in implementation. Now, if you want to make any kind of changes by the team, what they have to do? Again, they have to go to analysis phase where they have to do that analysis
Yeah, yeah.
part. Again, they have to go for planning and design. So if this is the case, what is happening? The amount of time you are spending, man hours is getting increased, isn't it? Right? Number of hours is getting increased because of this. So whenever there are some man hours is being increased, automatically it's giving a difficult task for a team to understand. Right? So because man hours effort increases, uh, automatically budget will also get increased and it leads to complexity sometimes, project complexity taken place. In order to avoid this, what usually this environment nowadays we have introduced is called DevOps environment. DevOps
Okay.
environment where this is how usually the DevOps environment will be. Right, so you can see here, this is how generally DevOps environment is. You can see, right? This is what DevOps life cycle is. In this DevOps life cycle, if you can see on the left hand side, where development, integration, testing, monitoring, feedback, deployment, operations. These were earlier into two different phases. Development, testing, monitoring, all these in one phase. Deployment, operations, all these in the second phase. Right? These are the two different things. But what happens when there are any changes happens in the existing application, if you want to make any changes, again going back takes lot of effort in terms of man hours. Money is more. Sometimes you don't have sufficient budget to perform all that. So what is that we do? This is where generally CI and CD process come into picture. DevOps environment. Please do remember DevOps is an environment, right? Agile is a methodology. DevOps is an environment. DevOps is not a
Okay.
technology. It's not a technology. Okay, DevOps is an environment we have created. Where in this DevOps environment, what we did is both the development and operations team we are putting on the same plan. The development team means implementation developers, testers. At the same time, deployment team and operations team, we are putting on the same plan. so that there won't be any confusion, no communication gap. The amount of time they are spending will be more productive. Within less time, things can be done. So these are the different stages you can see in DevOps. The one is about continuous development is what we do in the first. In reference to the continuous development and all, we have to plan the objectives. At the same time, whatever the objectives we want to achieve is what we have to plan here. At the same time, whatever the code we want to write in reference to the requirements, everything will be planned in the continuous development stage itself. This is the first stage. Okay, this is the first stage, point number one. In context to the DevOps I'm talking about, right? Next, the second stage is called continuous integration. Continuous integration means usually in testing, there are two cases. One is manual testing, second is automation testing. Manual testing where manual process is what generally we follow, right? So there is a manual process where people will prepare some test cases, test plans, all that. Automation means using different tools like Selenium, Silk Runner, Load Runner, people will do it. So in this continuous integration, what is that we do is that we plan, test, and as well as build the product. Means manual process as well as creating test plans and all, everything will be done initially. So that whatever subsequently, whatever the testing will be done using different tools and all, everything comes into the next level, right? So this is where it is. So whenever there is an integration which has been taken place after the development of the objectives, what we have identified for the code for the project requirements, continuous integration where whatever the plan of test means test planning and all, everything will be built with the product. That's how usually we do in the beginning. So once the integration done, there is a continuous testing will be taken care of because there are hundreds of requirements which will be under pipeline, wherein people wants to do this testing, which must be an automation process. It should not be a manual process anymore. This must be an automation process, which has to be followed. This is where generally continuous testing will be. And whatever the testing was done, we have to verify and validate. So further continuous monitoring of the work as well as the product or as well as the piece of the work, right? So we need to identify we have to see the output. At the same time, if there are any problems which are identified, that has to be. So monitoring is what for the purpose. Monitoring we do for the benefit of understanding about whether how far it is performing, right? So to know that generally monitoring will be done. So based on the monitoring process, whatever the problems we have identified, that will be again going back to the feedback team. So from that feedback, actually it is going for continuous deploying of the product on the client environment will be done. Followed by deployment, this operation team will be releasing this short iterations and all everything to the customer through this development lifecycle. So whatever the stages of DevOps I'm talking about, right from continuous development, integration, testing, monitoring, feedback, deployment, operations, all these will happen under a same platform. So even development team, operations team, everybody is working under the same environment. This is where generally DevOps lifecycle process come into picture. So this is how generally we are adopting. So why we are adopting? Because this saves time, this saves confusion among the people who are working on it. At the same time, whoever is working on DevOps environment will have an opportunity to understand what exactly it was all that. At the same time, communication gaps will be wiped off here. So these are the different benefits. For that reason, DevOps lifecycle and DevOps environment has been introduced in the application development nowadays. So for that, there are a lot of tools. Of course, learning DevOps require a lot of tools to be used, like something like Jenkins, Kubernetes, Ansible, Negoist, right? So a lot of tools are available. Different tools for different reasons people have to be used for. So this is
But
what
for Scrum
generally
Master,
concept of DevOps is.
actually, Raj, for Scrum
Yes.
Master also nowadays they're asking CI/CD knowledge is a must and should.
Yeah,
So
this is what.
to have this knowledge is enough, or do you want to explore some tools
Need to
also?
have more because this is a basic thing. Whatever I have explained you so
Okay.
far is a basic understanding of the knowledge I have given. But to be honest with you, this itself is not sufficient. You need to have a detailed understanding about this. So that is always beneficial, because whatever I have given, only a high level understanding. Right? I have not given any detailed understanding of it. So if you want, I'll do one thing. I'll forward my presentations, which was prepared. Right. So there is a detailed process of DevOps is there. So I'll forward my presentations where you can go through that, so that you'll be having an idea. Right. What are the goals and benefits? Right. So about this process.
Okay,
of it. I have prepared because these are all when and wherever it is needed. I want to explain to the students and corporates, so that I have prepared everything and make it ready. all these things. So these I'll be sharing to you, so that if you want, you can have a glance on it. Not a thing, not a problem.
sure, Raj, thank you.
That's how usually we do. So that's how the whole structure of DevOps. And moreover, nowadays, Agile and DevOps combination, because Agile environment, Agile
Yeah.
methodology people are using, even DevOps configurations and DevOps integration is also becoming mandatory. But little bit of depth knowledge of DevOps will help you, because I don't say that you need to work on tools on that, because I don't say. If you have an idea, that is absolutely a different thing. But that's the reason, apart from Jira, if you remember in our world, we are using Azure DevOps. There is a tool called
Okay.
Azure DevOps. Nowadays we are using.
Okay.
You can
Is it
visit my
integrated?
channel about Azure DevOps training, which I have given. There is a video which was posted. You can see, you can go through, so that you'll have an idea.
Definitely, yeah.
Azure DevOps, I have posted a video in my channel. Right. So Azure DevOps, a separate tool where whatever you said, like continuous integration, development, deployment, pipeline.
Easy to
CI/CD.
use, like from the Jira integration will happen, correct?
Jira is separate, because Jira, I can say
No,
Jira
Azure
is simple
DevOps
for
also
you
they
to-
have some Jira tool, correct? Inside
With
that tracking
Jira,
tools.
you can integrate with DevOps environment, but normally now
Okay.
what people do, whoever is following DevOps practices, people are using Azure DevOps.
Azure DevOps, okay.
Windows
Agree.
Azure DevOps is what people are using, because Azure DevOps, we have a tool as separate. It is almost something like a Jira, almost similar like Jira.
Okay.
But
Agreed.
there is DevOps environment will also be included in it. That's what generally the difference is. Even
Okay.
DevOps environment is also included. Understand? Manjana.
Yeah.
Right? So, you know, right? So even DevOps environment are also included in it. Even continuous integration, development, deployment, all these things can be taken well as well. Anything, Vinod, yourself? Vinod, are you there? Vinod? Vinod, I couldn't hear you. Vinod.
I think some issue again with this audio or something.
Okay, so this is all about this part. Right, Manjunath? Right, Manoj?
Yeah, today's last session, I hope, correct?
Yes, any questions, please?
Okay.
Vinod, yourself, any questions, please go ahead. Like to ask anything? Vinod?
Raj, are you able to hear me? Hello?
Yes, I can.
Okay, now only I'm able to. I think today my system has a problem. I connected to the mobile. I'm not used to this kind of atmosphere. I've connected mobile. Headphone is working or sometimes it's not working.
Okay, it's okay, no problem. Anyway, the session is under recorded. That need not be worried.
Yeah.
Any questions you'd like to ask?
I'm good, Raj. I have a good knowledge on this now.
Okay. Now what I'm doing is I'll be sending. Maybe I don't do it tomorrow, because give me 2 days time. I'll send you some documents. Of course, Excel sheet I'll be sharing as you asked me. Apart from that, some scenario-based Scrum-related documents are there with me. I think it is in my old
Okay.
system. I have to take it out
Okay.
because that system has some problem. So I have to take it out. It just give me 1 or 2 days time. Scenario-based, there are some documents I have prepared. That's a Scrum Master related scenarios. I have different scenarios I have prepared. And there are different answers. For every question, there are 2-3 answers. Not only one. For some questions, you have different scenario-based answers. So the document I'll be sharing. I'll share the document also. Which is in another 2-3 days time I'll share. Okay. So that
Sure,
please
Raj.
go through that. Please go through those. So that we'll have a more understanding about this.
Sure. Thank you.
Right.
Thank
Sure,
you
Raj.
for your,
Thanks for your time, Raj.
Yeah.
Right. Thank
Yeah.
you. Thank you. My pleasure. Okay. Right, Manjuna. Right, Vinod.
Yeah.
Good night.
Good night.
Thank you. Thank you.
I'll put a comment also.
Sure. All the best.
Thanks, Raj.
Thank you.